What's going on, y'all? I just got back from my lower body workout. I'm here today to show you a 10-minute lower body stretch routine that you can do after your workout to promote mobility and, of course, try to reduce that soreness in a few days. Hopefully that happens. Now I'm gonna jump right into it. Feel free to follow along as we go. So I'm going to be starting with a quad stretch. So I think the key thing with this is you want to try to get as much knee flexion as possible. That is, try to bend your knee as much as possible. And we're gonna be doing this for like roughly 20 to 30 seconds. As you see, I like using two hands as I'm able to get a deeper stretch this way, and honestly, it feels a little bit more stable than going one arm, to be honest. Let's call that roughly 20 seconds. Now I'm gonna switch on to the other side, of course. Same deal. Now, if you're having trouble finding balance, you can always use a wall or something to kind of hold you up. But if you're able by enough, I urge you to challenge yourself to try to practice that balance, which I think is always a good thing. Okay, so should be nearing 20 seconds. Now, to be completely honest, I pretty much just kind of count in my head, but for today, since I'm gonna be talking to you guys, explaining what I'm doing, not really gonna be counting. So, next thing we're gonna be doing is a hip stretch. So we stretch the quads, now we're gonna be moving on to the hips. Now, it's gonna be the back leg that we're gonna be stretching here with this lunge stretch. So what I recommend doing is get your front foot, make around a little bit over greater than a 90-degree angle. Maybe I'll go on the side here. And then what I'm gonna do is lean into the front leg so that you feel a massive stretch here on the back leg. Now, I like to keep my torso straight up as it'll kind of helps you get a little bit of a deeper stretch from the other end. Ooh. Now, generally speaking, I would consider this more of just a cool down workout. I wouldn't do this before as a warm up because static stretching in general is probably not gonna be the best for warming up. But if you're gonna stretch your hips, maybe this could be a good exercise or a good stretch to actually implement as a warm up as well, since generally speaking, you're not gonna actually be training your hips, you're gonna be training more of the quads or hamstrings, and loosening up the hips a little bit can probably help you open up and get a deeper squat. So, moving on to the second leg, of course, we're gonna be doing the same thing. Try to give you guys a different angle. So, do it from here. Now, I recommend having a pad under yourself or else it kind of hurts your knees, but you know, I'm just gonna suffer through this for the video. Feel that stretch in that back leg. Remember, it's not in the front leg, it's the back one. Okay. I like to really try to like sink myself deep down into it. Okay. Now, moving on next, we're gonna be doing a simple butterfly stretch. So, I'm gonna get closer to the camera at this point. I'm gonna bring my feet in together and try to get my knees to touch the ground. Now, generally speaking, you're probably not gonna be mole enough to actually get them to touch the ground, but that is a good cue to try to get deeper into that hip. Get a deeper stretch into that hip, that is. I try to keep my feet together. You don't wanna have them come apart. Just gonna hold this for another 20 seconds. Okay. All right. Now, next we're gonna be moving on to more of the glutes and posterior chain. So what I like doing as a kind of a teaser stretch for the glutes is knee huggers. So what I'm gonna do is lay on the ground like here. I'm gonna have one leg crisscross across the other leg. And then with my arm, I'm gonna hug my knee and try to get it to touch my chest. And then you should be feeling a stretch in your glute down here. Ooh, this is a good one. I really like this, especially after a leg day. Like when, you know, once you're starting sitting down, it's like you're probably already dying. So it's pretty comforting, this position. Okay, move on to the next one. We're just gonna switch sides and do this side real quick. Give you a side view. Wanna try to hug your knee and get as deep a stretch into that glute as possible. Oh, my left glute is definitely tighter. I don't know why, compared to my right one. But if you're curious whether you need to keep your straight leg bent or not, or straight or bent or not, it doesn't really matter. The real focus is just getting that knee to your body. And if you want to make it even more intense, you can even try to like twist it so that your foot is kind of facing backwards almost. Okay, now we're gonna transition away from the glutes real quick and go into the hamstrings. Now, some people like the, toe touchers, some they do it standing up or sitting down. I really don't like how it feels on my lumbar spine, so how I like to do my hamstring stretches is I lay on my back, one leg at a time. I'm gonna bring my feet up and I'm gonna try to grab my ankle here, okay? Now the key thing is you wanna keep your knee straight throughout the entire duration of this, or it kind of turns into more of a glute stretch. But from here, I'm simply gonna try to fall back on my body while still gripping my leg and trying to keep this knee relatively straight as possible. So something like this, you should feel that stretch in your hamstring. And this is gonna be something that you kind of have to try yourself and see how much mobility you have, kind of see how your body responds or how it feels. For me, this is as deep as I need to go. I don't really need to bring my leg further down over here. So, right, that's 20 seconds. Now I'm gonna switch sides. As you see, I'm gonna bring my leg up, arm grabs the ankle, other arm grabs the ankle. Try to keep the knee relatively straight. Doesn't have to be exactly straight, but just a slight bend works, but don't try to don't bend it here or else you're not gonna feel that stretch. Ooh. If you want an even deeper stretch, you could try to even straighten the knee. So you can start by grabbing it with a bent knee and slowly straightening the knee, yes, so. Ooh. Man, my hamstrings were tight. Now, I recommend everyone do this after their leg workout. I know it's super easy just to skip over a stretch, but I think it's extremely important, especially if you don't wanna, suffer from DOMS next few days. Okay, so after that, we're gonna be moving on to back to the glutes. And with that, what we're gonna be doing is, I don't know the name of this, I'm just gonna call it a lying glute stretch, but I'm gonna start by having a straight knee on one leg, bent knee on the other one. I'm gonna crisscross once more, but instead of hugging my knee, I'm actually just gonna let it slide here, okay? So it's laying over here. At this point in time, I'm gonna bend this straight leg, and I'm just gonna simply fall back. And from here, the goal is to pull on the straight leg so that my ankle of the front leg, this one right here, is touching my face. Now, again, it's not gonna actually touch your face, but you're gonna be stretching the right glute here. I'm just smacking myself on camera. But this is this is also another really good glute slash a little bit of a hamstring stretch. It's a good posterior chain stretch. You should feel it in pretty much both hamstrings and glutes doing this. Something when you're done, just let yourself come forward, and we're gonna be switching sides. Come back. We're almost done with this stretch routine. Super quick. I'm pretty sure this is less than 10 minutes total, and I spent a good at least minute or so yapping the whole time. So another good reason you should be stretching is if you've ever felt the feeling of DOMS the next few days, I noticed it kind of makes your day a little sluggish, especially if you tend to commute by just walking. So you live in a big city or you just live an active lifestyle. Walking around with really sore legs is kind of a drag on the day. It makes pretty much everything harder, in my opinion. So having a good stretch routine to try to minimize that as much as possible, in my mind, is a worthwhile endeavor. So last thing we're gonna do is a calf stretch. Now, I know a lot of you guys probably skip calves, so it probably doesn't really matter that you stretch it, but I think it's good thing to have. So the way you do a calf stretch is you go into this, what's this, plank position? There's a downward dog, whatever we call it, cat's pose. But you go into this position, and what we're gonna try to do is get our heel to touch the ground, okay? While staying in this position. So what some people do is, they use their back leg to kind of push their heel down. You should feel a stretch in the calf this way. If you guys did any high school sport, you probably will be familiar with a lot of these stretches. And If you are already doing them, well, good for you. That's pretty much all you really need. I don't think you need anything fancier than this. I don't think you need to take a dedicated yoga class or to properly cool down after a workout. I would say over time, simply doing this on a consistent basis, doing it as consistently as every time you work out, your mobility should actually improve over time with this, okay? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, okay. And that was the Tyler Path lower body stretch routine. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hopefully you guys found it helpful. And my goal here is to have pretty much anyone on this planet, every single person that watches this video, actually do this stretch. It's super quick. It's really not that hard. You can be on your phone, listen to music while you're doing it, listen to a podcast, multitask. So it's accessible, no equipment needed. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Leave a like to support my page, hit subscribe if you want to level up your physique. Of course, if you're looking for more personal guidance, I recommend you apply to my one-on-one fitness coaching program down below. Consider using code PATH at ABLE if you're looking for more gym clothes. 10% off using my code. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.